Camille smiled at me every single morning. She brought me coffee without me asking. She laughed at every joke I made, even the bad ones. And the entire time, she was quietly building a file to get me fired. By the time I found out, HR had already scheduled the meeting that was supposed to end my career at that company. But nobody in that meeting, not Camille, not my manager, not the woman running it, knew what I had found in a shared folder the night before. This is the story of how a smile became a weapon and how I turned it right back around. Camille and I started the same month 3 years ago. We were the only 2 women on the growth team under 30, and we bonded fast. Lunch every day, venting about deadlines, covering for each other when one of us needed to leave early. I trusted her completely. That was my first mistake. 6 months ago, a senior associate position opened up. Marcus, our manager, made it clear it was between the 2 of us. Camille congratulated me on being the obvious pick so many times I actually believed she meant it. Then, 3 weeks ago, our biggest client, a skincare brand relaunching nationally, sent back a campaign report full of numbers that didn't match what we'd agreed on. Wrong budget allocations, inflated reach projections, the kind of mistake that makes a client walk.
Marcus called me into his office that Thursday. His face told me before he said a word.
Talia, the client says you approved these numbers directly. There's an email thread with your name on it. I hadn't sent that thread. I hadn't approved anything close to those numbers. But when he turned his laptop around, there it was. My name, my signature line, sitting under numbers I'd never seen before.
I need you to explain this before Friday, he said. HR wants to sit in.
I walked out of that office with my hands shaking. 3 years of good reviews, 0 write-ups, and suddenly I was the person who almost lost the company its biggest account. I replayed every version of that report I'd sent. None of them matched what Marcus showed me.
That night, I couldn't sleep. Something about the timestamp on that email kept bothering me. It was sent at 11:47 p.m., a time I was nowhere near my laptop. I remembered exactly what I was doing that night, because it was Camille's birthday dinner. She left early, said she had a headache. I opened my work laptop at 2 a.m. and started digging. Our team shared a drive where every draft, every version, every comment lived with a timestamp attached. I wasn't looking for anything specific at first, just trying to prove the version I sent was clean. I found it in the version history. The original report, the one I actually submitted, had the correct numbers. Verified, double-checked, signed off by Marcus himself in the comments. But there was a second version, uploaded 4 hours later, from an account that wasn't mine. It was Camille's login, timestamped 11:47 p.m. She had copied my formatting, changed the figures, and forwarded it to the client using a saved email signature that made it look like it came from me. My stomach dropped, and then strangely went still. Because now I understood exactly what I was looking at. Camille hadn't made a mistake. She'd built one, carefully, and pointed it straight at me 3 days before a promotion decision was supposed to be made. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more than a hunch, because I already knew what the meeting would look like if I walked in with nothing but a story. Camille was better liked in that office than I realized. She'd spent 3 years being everyone's favorite person to grab coffee with. I'd spent 3 years being good at my job. Those aren't the same currency in a room full of people deciding who to believe. So I built my own file. I pulled the metadata showing the edit history, timestamps, and login activity.
I found the saved email draft, still sitting in a shared template folder, half finished, with my name typed into the signature field by someone who clearly hadn't finished covering their tracks. I even found a message she'd sent a friend on a work chat that auto-synced to the shared system. Something about how Marcus will have to give me the role once this blows up. I saved everything. Screenshots, timestamps, the works. Then I did the hardest part. I kept showing up like nothing had happened. I let her bring me coffee. I let her ask with fake concern if I was doing okay. I smiled back every single time. And every single time, it cost me something to do it. Friday morning arrived faster than I wanted it to. The meeting room had 4 chairs. Marcus sat at the head. Miss Delgado from HR sat beside him with a folder already open. Camille sat across from me, calm, composed, wearing the same soft, sympathetic expression she'd worn all week. "Talia," Miss Delgado started, "we want to understand what happened with the client report." Camille jumped in before I could speak. "I really don't want this to seem like I'm throwing anyone under the bus, but I did notice some inconsistencies in Talia's numbers before they went out. I should have flagged it sooner." She sounded so genuinely regretful that for a second, even I almost believed her. "That's actually why I asked for this meeting to happen today," I said, "because I found something I think everyone needs to see." I opened my laptop and turned it around, the way Marcus had turned his around on me 3 days earlier. I walked them through it slowly. The original report, time-stamped and verified. The second version, uploaded 4 hours later from a login that wasn't mine. The half-finished email draft, with my name typed into someone else's template. The message about the promotion. The room went quiet in a way I'll remember for a long time. Miss Delgado looked at Camille. "Can you explain the login activity on this document?" Camille's composure cracked for the first time in 3 years. She stammered something about shared devices, about someone else using her laptop, about a misunderstanding. Nobody in that room bought it, including Marcus, whose face had gone from confused to furious in about 10 seconds. She was walked out that same afternoon. I found out 2 weeks later that the senior associate role was mine, effective immediately. No more waiting, no more obvious pick comments from someone who'd been quietly planning to destroy my career the entire time. I still think about how easy it would have been to miss that timestamp. How close I came to walking into that meeting with nothing but the truth and no way to prove it. If you've ever had someone smile at you while working against you behind your back, you know exactly the feeling I'm describing. That mix of confusion and disbelief when the proof finally lands in your hands. I share these stories anonymously because so many of you have lived through something just like this, whether it was at work, in a friendship, or somewhere much closer to home. If this story hit close to home, hit subscribe. New stories drop every week, and this community has become one of the most honest spaces I've found online. And I want to know, would you have confronted her the moment you found that timestamp, or would you have waited to build your case like I did? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and honestly, some of your stories are wilder than mine. I'll see you in the next one.